Parody films often come about because of a consistent trend in cinema.
Stop kicking people into the pit of death, really.
All the airport and plane movies in the 70s led to Airplane.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
The success of Top Gun in the 80s gave us Hot Shots.
That is the whitest white part of the eye I've ever seen. Do you floss?
And on the horror side, nothing was more successful in the 90s than Scream.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
So of course, the Wes Craven Kevin Williamson classic would be a prime candidate for the same treatment. In stepped the Wayans brothers, who had successfully parodied blaxploitation movies with their film I'm Gonna Get You Sucka. What followed was a pop culture milestone that spawned a slew of imitators. So join us as we get into all the parodies.
What's your favorite scary movie?
As we revisit Scary Movie.
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
Reporting live for Black TV. White folks are dead. We're getting the out of here. Let's roll, Jack.
The Scary Movie franchise wasn't the first to parody horror films in a fun and comedic way. Both Student Bodies and Saturday the 14th provided plenty of chuckles, but failed to make much of a cultural impact. At least not in the way that Scary Movie did. And as strange as it is to admit it, it helped serve as a great entry point for others into horror. I've lost track of the number of times I've heard someone say they watched Scream after seeing Scary Movie. And once I recover from the initial shock and break it down, it kinda makes sense. I mean, heck, when simplified, Scary Movie really is just a more palatable comedy version of Scream. Which is weird to say because I think Scream is fucking hilarious. Scary Movie essentially tells the story of Cindy Campbell and her friends as they're being hunted down by a psycho killer in a ghost mask. Given that she and her friends accidentally killed a guy 1 year prior, they think their would-be victim is alive and out for blood. Sounds familiar, eh? Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer were the primary films being parodied here. I mean, hell, Scary Movie is literally the original title for Scream. And there are some smaller references to other films, which we'll also get into, but the 1996 and 1997 slashers provided the backbone of the story. And since this wasn't released until 2000, that meant that they also had Scream 2 to pull from. Hell, they even pulled from Scream 3, which released that year.
I'm 25 and a half years old.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's just many.
So big.
Yeah.
First, let's look at the cast. Most of the characters are based on those in Scream, but there are some I Know What You Did Last Summer stragglers here and there. Cindy Campbell is obviously meant to be Sidney Prescott, and has a lot of the same characteristics since they give her the same backstory. Bobby Prince is a mix of Billy Loomis and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s Ray Bronson, which makes things slightly confusing with the character of Ray, who is both based on Ray Bronson as well as even a little Steve from Scream 2. Greg is loosely based on Barry Cox and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then Brenda is mostly just a ramped up version of Maureen from Scream 2, complete with super obnoxious theater etiquette.
This movie is good!
Though I've seen the argument made for Brandy's character in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer as well. Gale Hailstorm is obviously a play on Gale Weathers, and oddly, they don't really parody Randy Meeks, although Shorty does get a version of his rule speech at the very end of the movie. Buffy Gilmore is based on Sarah Michelle Gellar's character Helen Shivers, though obviously the name is a play on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I guess Happy Gilmore for some reason? I guess they sound alike. And she has a lot of the same character traits as Tatum Riley, especially with her exaggerated death.
There you go, Mr. Scary Killer. I'm panicking now.
Officer Doofy is clearly meant to be Officer Dewey Riley, played with a bit less IQ points. Yeah, let's just say that.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Then in the opening, Drew is a clear callback to Drew Barrymore and her memorable appearance in the opening of Scream. This intro is a damn near shot-for-shot remake with obviously a bit of added humor. That's really what we've got for most of the movie. It's a Scream scene, but with some added funnies. The back and forth between the killer and victim follow a very similar path, even with some of the exact same lines.
You like scary movies?
And some funny variations.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
What's that noise?
Oops. I farted. I didn't think you would hear me.
In fact, the movie mostly follows the same structure as the first Scream, nearly scene for scene. It starts with the opening kill in the countryside, moves to Cindy on the computer, with her boyfriend making an appearance shortly after. Her dad snoops, then we get to see how the school is reacting to the news of the murders. This is when we finally get a little bit of difference as they posit,
Hey, do you guys think it's strange that she got killed exactly 1 year after we, killed that guy?
Most of this ends up being ultimately pointless and just an excuse to parody another movie, which kinda just adds to the comedy. They full-blown kill this guy and there are no repercussions for it. I mean, I guess it depends on your brand of humor, but still. I thought it was funny in retrospect. Buffy gets her beauty pageant moment, complete with her boyfriend getting killed before her very own eyes. I love how much this looks exactly like the beauty pageant in last summer. Cindy gets attacked and they set up Bobby as a killer, and at this point it would have been very smart for the filmmakers to use him as a red herring, since anyone that watched Scream will know exactly what's going on. But instead, they just take everything from the Williamson playbook, and it kind of works. Every scene gets recreated but given its own little twist. Like when the killer calls Cindy at Buffy's house and Dewey comes out, clearly having done unspeakable things with that vacuum hose. As a massive Scream fan, it's moments like this that always make me chuckle. It's the little things.
Hello?
And anyone who remembers the advertisements for the film will remember the Blair Witch parody, complete with a seemingly never-ending stream of snot out of Gale's nose. Heck, even Shorty's I See Dead People showed the filmmakers' ability to adapt to the latest trends, as The Sixth Sense had just released only 11 months prior to Scary Movie's release. The killer himself is more of a Freddy Krueger type, quipping left and right. His appearance is similar to Ghostface, though with a slight variation on the mask. As much as this is a comedy, they do a great job of making the killer a threat. He genuinely feels like a psycho that is likely to kill anyone that he's around. Just look at the scene where he kills all the stoners, and he manages to do it with no problem. And I'll always appreciate a Friday the 13th reference.
Hey, you guys hear that?
If you'll remember, Julie gets laid at the beginning of I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Sydney gets laid at the end of Scream. Both are final girls and both survive. So the filmmakers in Scary Movie are able to play with that in a fun way, but unfortunately we really can't show you that here on YouTube. Go watch the scene yourself because it's comedy gold. The ending recreates Scream further, with Bobby and Ray revealing themselves as the killers. They add this fun gay angle that plays on Bobby being sexually frustrated by Cindy. They even get some fun little digs at the films that they've been parodying this whole time.
Did Scream have a plot? No. Did I Know You Did Last Summer make any sense? Don't think so. And what about the sequel? What the hell is with that fat white Jamaican?
I want to kill that motherfucker.
While it's easy to disagree with those statements, you bastards, how dare you diss Scream, I'd say it's a little harder to defend Jack Black's appearance in the sequel. The only thing that sucks about them following the structure of Scream so closely is that it's a bit of a disappointment that we never got to see expanded parodies of the other Scream movies. But maybe that can be rectified somewhat. It's been 11 years since we received a new entry in the Scary Movie franchise, and that wait looks to be coming to an end next year. Given their relationship with the Scream franchise, it wouldn't shock me to see Scream 5 and Legacy sequels as the main target for Scary Movie 6. Here's hoping they use the original Scary Movie as a blueprint for what to do right by picking one film to go after and find the funny in those moments. Not just create completely random ones that have nothing to do except go for a cheap laugh. But then again, there is Doofus being revealed to not only be the killer but also a handsome stud in a similar way to the ending of The Usual Suspects. And I think, you know what? Sometimes a random joke does work. Though, I shudder to think what they would do with Kevin Spacey movies nowadays. Scary Movie released on July 7th, 2000 and debuted at number 1 at the box office with $42 million. It would end its worldwide run at $278 million. Given its budget of just $19 million, This was a massive success for Dimension Films, and to the surprise of nobody on Earth, a sequel was quickly greenlit. Think we should cover that one? So what say you? What do you think about Scary Movie? Do you think it was a worthy parody of Scream and late 90s slashers? Where would you like to see the franchise go in the 6th installment? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.
Kazam, you know the one where Shaq plays a genie?
That's not a horror movie.
Well, you haven't seen Shaq act.